In 1972, John Berger released the TV programme Ways of Seeing. It consisted of 4 episodes, each focusing on a different element of European art and the way that we now see these images. In episode 1, Berger drew upon ideas from an essay by Walter Benjamin titled The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. In this video, I want to explore the ideas put forward by Berger that the invention of the camera has completely changed the way we see art.
Botticelli's Venus and Mars used to be a unique image, which it was only possible to see in the room where it was actually hanging. Now its image or detail of it, or the image of any other painting which is reproduced, can be seen in a million different places at the same time.
As Berger explains, paintings were once unique objects that could only be seen by standing in front of the physical piece. Paintings were often created to be displayed in a certain location. Many were painted on walls and could not be physically moved. But since the invention of the camera, we can now all access them via reproductions. This is even more true now than it was in 1972. In the present day, anyone can Google The Last Supper and view the image created by Leonardo da Vinci on a phone display, completely removing the context of the image in its location as it was painted. As Berger says,
"The images come to you. You do not go to them."
This makes works of art more accessible, but it also changes the context in which we see them.
You are seeing them in the context of your own life. They are surrounded not by gilt frames, but by the familiarity of the room you are in and the people around you.
Because paintings can now be easily reproduced using a camera, they've lost their original value as a unique object. Berger points out that paintings are still unique, but now it is because of their monetary value, not because the image itself is unique. Berger discusses how when presented on screen, works of art can be easily manipulated. This can be as simple as playing melancholy music whilst showing a work of art on screen. The addition of the music could easily influence the audience into assuming that the artist's inspiration matches the mood of the music, despite potentially having no connection whatsoever. Berger also shows us how by simply zooming into a certain part of the image, he can completely change what we think we are seeing.
From being part of a strange poetical world of metamorphosis, a dog can be turned into a pet.
In the present day, the easy reproduction of famous works of art has completely changed how we see them. Even in comparison to when Berger was making his programme in 1972, the most extreme example of this is how we represent the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. The image of the Mona Lisa has become so famous via reproduction that in many ways we no longer view it for the piece of art that it is, but as a symbol, or a sort of shorthand which represents the art world. The image is now something that can be easily parodied or printed on an object to be sold in a gift shop. Millions of us still go to see the original image, but for most of us it no longer has any value as a piece of art. We want to see it merely for the fame it has acquired as a popular culture icon. We see the image so often in various different guises that we all recognise it immediately, and yet we fail to pay attention to it properly, which is why many of us are often shocked to discover that the subject of the painting is wearing a veil. A good question to ask would be, if art is so easily manipulated through reproduction, couldn't Berger's TV programme be doing the same thing? This is something he addresses at the end of episode 1.
Meanwhile, with this program, as with all programs, you receive images and meanings which are arranged. I hope you will consider what I arrange, but be skeptical of it.
And in the same way that you should be open-minded but skeptical about Berger's programme, you should also be skeptical about what you've heard in this video. Although I've presented Berger's thoughts and my own, as I believe them to be, and not consciously tried to deceive you, I had full control over the making of this video. You saw what I wanted you to see in the way I wanted you to see it, through a screen, without the full context of the original works.